Hello, everyone. Hey there. Happy Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know. For those, I see we have a bunch of people watching live, so let me know. We are going to get started here in just 1 second. Bear with me. We are doing kind of a funny setup today because, I'll explain why when I bring our special guest on. I'm very excited about that. So welcome, everyone. So tonight we're going to talk about parenting through COVID-19. I'm Meg Wheeler. I'm a candidate for the Massachusetts State Senate in the Plymouth and Norfolk district. So it's everything from Weymouth down to Duxbury. And I wanted to do this special parents virtual happy hour, coming together conversation about COVID-19. Because last week, Governor Baker, of course, announced that schools will be closed for the rest of the school year, and that daycares, non-essential daycares, will be closed through June 29th. And so I thought this would be a good time for all of us to hop on and just talk about how we're doing during this time, talk about how we can support each other, share some ideas possibly, and also for me to talk a little bit about how I'm working to support parents and will work to support parents and kids when I'm in the state Senate. So again, let me know if you guys can hear me. If someone can give me like an okay, I can hear you, that would be awesome. Just because I always want to make sure that people can actually hear me. A ton of people are watching live, which is incredible. So please someone tell me if you can hear me. That would be great. But, and I want to check that too before I bring on our special guest. Also, too, this is totally casual. We're here all together just to support each other. If you have questions or comments, you can hear me. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. If you have questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comments. We will try to get to all of them. There have been already some great questions already. It can be anything from parenting to, to state Senate stuff to just, I don't know how you're coping right now. So whatever it is, drop it in the comments. We'll get to it. But I'm super excited to bring on my special guest. I'm very, very excited actually for this. So I'm going to go ahead and pop him on here. This is my co-parent here, my partner in crime, Mr. Steve Wheeler. Welcome.
Hi.
You have to talk so we can hear you.
Did I not talk?
No, his audio is not working. This is like the fear. I swear I didn't silence him. This is on him. And I'll explain why we're in separate rooms in a second. Steve, are you there?
I'll try one. Yes, I'm here.
No, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all?
All right. For those watching live, can you hear Steve? Of course, we're having tech issues. I told him, I said, make sure you set up all of this well in advance. And he didn't listen. Andrew says he's a god. That's great. I agree with that. But can you hear him, Andrew? That's the big question is, can you hear him? Just because
How's that? Any better?
We can hear him. All right. So while he figures that out, you can hear.
Any better?
I can't hear him though, Jen. Oh God. So maybe it's on me. All right. Hold on. Oh,
busted.
Oh, was it on me? It was on me. It's my headphones. All right. I'm taking them out. Hopefully you guys don't get feedback. So first of all, let's address why we're in separate rooms. It's not because we didn't make it this long, being quarantined together. Steve, his voice is like angels singing, Andrew says. That's lovely. Thank you for that. I see some people have already started in on the cocktails tonight. So a couple of days ago, Steve got a little bit of a sore throat. So per doctor's orders, he is self-isolating in our guest bedroom. So although I wanted him to be here next to me live, he is not. He is down the hall. But nonetheless, I am very glad to still have him here. So thanks for hopping on, babe.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have some questions, but I feel like before we dive into the questions, we should talk a little bit about what our parenting experience has been like, because I'm fairly certain that this will make everyone feel better, right?
It couldn't make them feel worse.
Well, that's true. We are not Pinterest parents. So I haven't even been counting the days. I love the parents that count the days. I don't remember the first day that Jack was home. So Jack is 3 or almost 3. He's our only child, which makes me feel really bad as a parent that I'm struggling when I only have 1, because so many of you out there I know have 2, 3, 4, and I can't even imagine. 1 is exhausting me. So, but it's been almost 2 months, I would say, a month and a half, right? Since
middle of March, yeah.
Middle of March, okay. And I feel like 3 is a really tough age to do. I'm sure every age has its challenges. I want to put that out there, but I feel like 3 is a really tough age to do this because he does not want to remote learn at all. Right?
That I wouldn't categorize that as the biggest challenge, but yeah, that certainly is a factor.
Wait, what's the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge for me is that he will either watch TV or require a playmate.
Yeah, I actually don't think he even cares about having a playmate. He just like his newest thing is he wants to paint with yogurt all over our house. Everywhere. So if you come over like 6 months from now and sit on our couch, it's probably going to smell like yogurt. Like that to me is actually the bigger challenge. And I don't think he cares if he has a playmate for that. He's going to do it anyway.
Let me rephrase. He requires supervision 100% of the time.
Oh yeah, that I agree with. Yeah. And of course, I hope you all brought your beverages. We are definitely definitely enjoying our adult beverages tonight. So that's interesting. I would say that's the biggest challenge for me too, is that he wants to be supervised all the time. I'm curious for the parents watching.
I don't think he wants to be.
Sorry, that we need to supervise all the time. All right, I'm curious for the parents.
Don't worry about it.
For the parents, let's talk about that in a second. So I'm curious for the parents watching, drop what your biggest challenge is, because I feel like this is going to be different across all age groups. And we know what it's like for the 3-year-olds, almost 3-year-olds, but I can only imagine the other challenges. Yeah, this is his newest thing is he walks around and when I'll say like, Jack, I don't want you to paint our sofa with yogurt, he'll say, don't worry about it. As if somehow that's going to help. And it's not. It doesn't help. It doesn't help.
He's very he's got great manners. He does say,
yes,
I'm sorry anytime that he ruins something, or he does say don't worry. He's concerned about our feelings. I appreciate that.
He doesn't actually mean that he's sorry or that he's going to stop doing it, but he says it.
Yes, he is a man.
Stop. Megan says for her elementary kids, it's definitely supervising and organizing the online schooling. For her middle schooler, it's the social aspect. She's lonely. I'm glad you said that about the lonely thing, because I think this is one of the things that is creeping up on a lot of people, and not just kids. So I have worked from home for 3 months. And so I think I was probably better equipped for this than maybe some other folks, because I've learned how to deal with that sort of level of isolation. Now, my outlets for dealing with that have gone away. Like I don't get to go to Seabird anymore and sit there all day and talk to people like my good friend who's watching us right now. But for kids, I feel like that's got to be even harder, because they are used to every single day for most of the year, all year if you go to camp, every single day being around their peers and having conversations and engaging with other folks. I mean, that just feels to me like probably the hardest part. And candidly, I don't know how much that's affecting our 3-year-old. Like I don't know, Steve, if you have similar thoughts, but that's my worry is like, what is he struggling with right now that we don't know, because he can't communicate that to us?
That is a cave I do not wish to enter.
It's a little too depressing. But that's a worry that parents are having, I think.
I have plenty of worries. I need not add any more.
So Steve is kind of the Chicken Little in our house, and so he worries about it. What are you eating?
What am I eating?
Yeah, it sounded like you were eating chips.
Really? That seemed like an appropriate diversion here.
It's fine. All right, we've got some questions. Let's dive into some questions. I have this fancy schmancy thing that I can do if I don't screw it up. So hold on. We're going to change it. Look at that. There we go. Comments. All right. So Andy says, for my boys who are college age, it's the socialization. They are still using FaceTime, but it's just being in the same space thing. Yeah, I get that. I feel like I've had friends say to me, I'm zoomed out. Like they've done too many Zoom calls. I feel like, and not just, kids and adults, both. I feel like connecting like this is cool, but at some point there's a huge difference just being in the room with somebody, feeling their presence. That affects me too. All right, we're gonna go to some questions. Hold on, I gotta get past. We got a bunch of comments. Tim's got a great question, but it's a legit serious question. So we're gonna save that for. We're gonna get through a couple of easy, light questions, and then we'll get to Tim's, because Tim's is a really important question. But I want to make sure we do it justice. Corey's got such a great question too. Okay. All right, here we go. Why are you laughing? So Corey asks, this is a great question. Thanks to Corey, who is a candidate for selectman in Cohasset. So Corey asks, we are trying to decide how to explain this pandemic to our children. And for reference, Corey's kids are also young. So his son is our age and daughter is younger. Do you hear footsteps? Oh my God, I hear footsteps. He's coming. He's coming. This is parenting. Hey, Jack, over here, buddy. Over here. Over here. This is truly parenting during COVID-19. So he's supposed to be in bed. Okay, so we're going to answer Corey's question. So Corey's question is...
I love you, Daddy.
Hey, buddy.
So Corey's question is, should we be transparent with what's going on? They might not fully understand, but is that better than just minimizing what's actually happening? I think we can each answer this, but I would say, yeah. I mean, I think, so I'm always going to be the one who wants to be a little bit more transparent. I think I tend to think that, I mean, we obviously have to make the conversations and the language we use age appropriate, but I tend to think that, you know, being honest about what's going on, sparks, being honest about what's going on, I think is important, because it teaches our kids how to process emotions and how to process life and what's happening. You know, our Sparkles, come here. Our oldest dog passed away a couple weeks ago. And, you know, today Jack asked me, he said, where's Bastion? And I said, well, honey, you know, he passed away. He died. I mean, you find a way to say it, but I think it's important to be honest to an extent with your kids, especially with something like this, because it is scary. And I think they are feeling stressed about it. The gate's closed, right?
The gate's closed.
Okay. I don't know, babe, what do you think about that?
I have not found him to be particularly able to comprehend the reality of it, so it doesn't seem possible to me to. Maybe he's just not, you know, quite that smart. I don't know.
Who says that?
He's not really quite catching up to it. It's like, why isn't?
Go ahead.
No, I mean, you know, I tried to get him to wear the mask the other day outside. He just wasn't having that. And then, you know, the ice cream line was too long because everybody had to call in their orders, and he doesn't understand. I mean, it's just, you do the best you can do. There's a virus going around. You put it back in the car.
Yeah. To give you a sense of what parenting during COVID-19 really looks like, our son is currently riding a massively large stuffed kangaroo across our bedroom floor. So he's supposed to be in bed. You are supposed to be in bed. Corey, I think that's a great question. I think this stuff's tough. Like and actually I will say I've seen some folks, so I'm kind of tapped in a little bit to the children's book industry. I've got a bunch of friends who are authors, and I know people are starting to put out kids' books on this. In fact, I'll find the links and drop them here. Because I do think it's important you have these conversations with your kids. It's just, you've got to, and Megan, look at Megan already did it. Megan dropped a link to a great picture book. Thank you, Megan. I knew you'd have fabulous links. So I think it is important to have these conversations, but great question. I love it. All right, hold on. We've got more. From the better half of the Evans crew, we've got a question. So Jen says, what habits have you developed that you'll want to retain when we return to normal? Oh, babe, do you want to start with this one?
Sure. Yeah, happy to. I think the Clubhouse is a good one, although that's pretty Jack specific.
Explain the Clubhouse.
I took the couch cushions off to wash the covers, and he just thought that was the most fun thing in the world when he discovered that the cushions could be removed. And so now the cushions are removed the minute he comes downstairs, and turned into a Clubhouse or a an obstacle course. I literally turned my head for a second yesterday, and he had jumped from the couch head first and landed head first on our cloth covered coffee table, and then bounced back up. I mean, it was like a cartoon.
Thank you.
I don't know that that's a very good answer, but
Well, okay.
funny to me.
He brought me a hairdryer in case that needed to happen right now. I can help with that. We're not going to turn it on right now, buddy. Mommy and Daddy are on a video. I think it's those moments of fun, and you admittedly you are much better at this than I am. Jack, Sparkles off the bed, Sparks off the bed. You're better at that than I am. But wait. Where are you going? You can't just leave. Jack, you stay here, buddy. Oh boy, they're all leaving. They're all running away. Anyway, Jen, to answer your question, I think it's those moments of silliness and fun and letting the house sort of, Sparks, stop. It's okay, buddy. I don't know why I'm still holding the hairdryer. Letting the house kind of be a mess and knowing that that's okay and we'll clean it up later and really fostering that creativity. I think especially Sparkles, come here, buddy. It's okay. Our other dog is really kind of stressed about the fact that our older dog passed away. Just fostering that creativity. I mean, I've seen Jack be so creative and his imagination is just running wild the last few weeks. And I love that. So I think it is those moments. Jack, you stay with Mommy. Daddy's going to take Sparkles. Sparks, go with Daddy. I feel like you are getting the best representation of parenting during this time. Can you wave to the camera? Even though your face is blocked? Sparks, go with your father. Okay. All right. Now you're gonna stay here for 2 seconds. Okay, we've got some more questions, and Steve is coming back. We're not gonna brush our teeth. Well, brushing your teeth is good. That's a good habit. We should do that, but not at the moment. Steve is coming back. You can now see the dog. The dog has been kicked out and has been moved to social isolation as well. I was gonna show you something funny since Steve mentioned the cushions. I pulled this up. I thought I pulled this up. Hold on. Yes, I did. Because I wanted to show you guys this. This is what he did to our couch. Let me pull Jen's question off of there so you can actually see. This is what he did to our couch. Moves all the cushions and dumped all of our quarantine snacks all over the sofa. So that is what we went through this week. That was awesome. But all right, we've got so many more questions. So hold on. We got to get through all of these. We got some really good ones. Okay. Yeah, oh, wow. Okay. Toothpaste. We're going to, do you want to go watch your show?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There you go. Go sit on the bed. Okay.
That is 75% parenting during COVID.
Go sit on Mommy's bed. Okay. How can we deal with stress during this epidemic? I don't know, dear. How can we deal with? Don't do that. I would say finding small moments to yourself. Like for me, this is going to steal my sort of status as a dork. I will turn it louder. But I got hit by one of those Facebook ads. Go sit on Mommy's bed, please. For This Old House, because they've released all 41 seasons online to stream. And when I say seasons, I mean like years. Like the very first season was back in the 70s. So I like every night at the end of the night when this little guy goes to bed and I'm just tapped out with work, I can't do anymore. Like I will sit down and I will watch a few of those episodes, and it's just something I look forward to. It's there's no stress about it. It's so lighthearted and silly and it doesn't matter. And so it's like little things like that help me get through. But babe, I don't know if you've got, you definitely don't enjoy This Old House with me. So that's not your thing.
No. I go for drives. And then I also, I've enjoyed, some things on my list that I had to learn how to cook. So I've been tinkering in the kitchen a little bit.
Yeah, Steve is the cook. Okay. Why don't you go sit on Mommy's bed with the phone? Thank you. We spilled the wine. It's fine. It's fine. Good question. That was a great question. Okay. Oh, Jenna. What?
Do you want to take care of that and I'll field the question?
Nope. Fine. It's fine. We're fine.
Great.
It's fine. So Jen asks, how can we support your campaign? Well, isolating, great question. I will drop some things in the comments, but the best thing you can do is head to megwheeler.com/volunteer. We have lots of volunteer activities. You can text voters. You can phone call or make phone calls to folks. We are primarily just checking up on people, making sure they're okay. So these are pretty low pressure, lighthearted conversations. We're mailing postcards to folks. So if that's more your vibe, those are kind of the big ways right now. Obviously, donating. All of our funds come from grassroots donors, just like you. We are not taking money from big corporations, especially not taking money from energy companies. So if you head to megwheeler.com/donate, we would be so appreciative of anything that you can send our way. We know this is an incredibly stressful time for a lot of folks. So if that's just not an option for you right now, that's totally fine. Just volunteering with us or even just liking our posts and sharing and telling your friends and family about us is huge. So Jen, great question. Thank you. Okay. We've got a lot of great comments, which is awesome. I think I've covered. Oh, here's a good question. This one's to you from Lynn. Oh, can you see it? You can see it, right? Okay.
I can. You can hear me though, right?
Yeah. Why?
I feel terrible.
No, you don't. He's lying. Ignore him. He's lying. He's just trying to get sympathy.
I honestly feel fine. This is just super over caution.
Yeah.
Last night I had a sore throat that was bad enough it felt like it was tonsillitis, but today I feel pretty okay.
Yeah, good, which is good. And you're getting tested tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be good. We'll know 5 to 7 days.
5 to 7 days, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I love this comment. This is not a question, but an awesome comment. So this is from, a very dear friend. So Kirsten says, hey, beautiful, not a parent officially yet, but baby will be here any day now. She is, it is time to brush our teeth. She is expecting her first. We do drives and look at dream homes since we can go anywhere till after baby. Keep rocking on. I love that. Yeah, you know what? The drives are really good. And I think that's a great option for getting out of the house. I myself try to go out for a drive at least once a day. So I love that. Yeah, that's key. That's key. All right. Let's talk about, should we admit to people what our daily schedule looks like with Jack? I don't know if do we want this level of honesty?
I'm not sure how I would answer that question, but
all right.
I'm curious to hear what the schedule is.
So I think when this all first went down and it became pretty clear that we weren't going to have school for a bit, we were really optimistic about what our schedule would look like. Like we got a whiteboard out, we plotted out the whole day. We were going to have like water time and math and music and art and like, I don't know, all these other things. And he was going to be the most cultured, educated kid, that you ever could meet.
Mm-hmm.
And that lasted like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I think it broke down at water time. Wait, where'd you go?
I'm good. I'm good.
Stop messing with it.
Why? I was losing power.
You're what?
I was losing power.
Oh, I feel like a lot of parents are going through that. Like I feel like a lot of parents are struggling with the whole how much do we balance? I'm going to turn his show off. How much do we balance, like actual learning versus just staying sane and I don't know, keeping kids occupied. And, I've heard from lots of teachers. I love the meme that's out there. I don't know if it's a meme. I never understand exactly what a meme is, but I love the meme that's out there that basically says like, just hug your kids and make sure they're okay and take care of them right now. And don't worry about the learning. Like this is our job. We will get them back on track in September. Like don't stress, just make sure everybody's healthy and safe right now. And I like that message because I think it takes some of the pressure off of parents, but I do also want to be cognizant of the fact that like, I think we all know. If you didn't know how hard teachers work before, you sure as hell do now. And I think we need to be really cognizant of the hard work that teachers are going to have to put in next year to help kids readjust. I kind of went on a little tangent there, but I don't know. I feel like that's a thing right now.
I concur.
You can be chatty, or you can be your chatty self.
Oh no, I was cautioned that I'm not supposed to be myself, lest I expose my I don't want to turn away your prospective voters. That would be a real problem.
First of all, if there's one thing we do on this campaign, it's we have candid conversations from all different perspectives and opinions. So if people are not open to that, then you're not going to like me. But I believe in hearing from all sorts of people on all different angles of an issue. I think that that's super important. So I'm curious. I guess, Steve, where do you stand on the whole, like, how much education should we actually be doing right now? I'm saying this as your child is eating toothpaste.
Yummy.
Listen, I think that the meme you talked about is great, and we're doing the best we can do. It may just be that there are negative consequences to this thing, and that will suck. But all of us is going to try to get as much quality. I mean, it's a combination of things. It's the same as any other day. You want to have some alone. The kid's got to have some alone time. He's got to have some time where his brain's getting used. He's got to have some activities, and some like lovey-dovey time. So probably right now he's going to get more lovey-dovey time, and he's going to use his mind less. But that's okay.
Would you?
And it's not okay because
lovey-dovey time. I'm not sure giving him the phone and saying "Watch your show" is lovey-dovey time. That's not
lovey-dovey. Lovey-dovey time is giving him a hug and telling him you love him, or But I
will say, Jen asked earlier what habits would we keep, and I would say that one. I feel like we're hugging more, and we're just trying. We've realized how much we miss human interaction. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Corey has a question. He says, are you setting any goals for the stay-at-home time? Stay alive. I keep seeing articles about being productive, but it seems harder than ever to get things done. Yeah, I would not say that we're being productive. I will say, and I know that we're doing this for parents, but I will say from the business perspective, what this has done is, because I have so little time to put into my business right now, is it's really forced me to keep the pieces that are important. And I'll be honest, that was like 25 to 30% of what I was spending my time on. I didn't realize that, but this had truly made me realize that. And so I think it's probably the same thing with parenting as well. This really forces you to get honest about what actually matters and what really doesn't matter that much. And so, for me, even though I'm technically less productive than I was before, I actually feel like I'm doing things that matter more. I'm focusing on the stuff that's important. So I don't know. What about you, babe?
As you know, I'm a lawyer, so I'm just as little productive now as I was before. I don't add a whole lot to society.
That is Steve's self-deprecating humor is why I married him. So I saw an article today in regards to working from home, homeschool, and just daily childcare yes. Okay, I want to put this up. This is super important. This is about that what we're all trying to do here. This taking care of kids, giving them an education, but also doing our jobs is super unsustainable. And I'm so glad you posted this, because I know the post you're talking about. I keep seeing it on my Facebook feed, and I keep thinking I really want to say something about this, both personally and for the campaign. And I'll be honest, I keep getting stopped in my tracks because this is so true and it's so tough. And I want to make sure that I do justice to this incredibly important issue. I mean, this is not sustainable. And Steve and I are luckier than most. I already worked from home. My business is online, so I was able to adapt a lot of things. And we have supportive family that as restrictions, are lifted, we can rely on more. But not everybody has that. And this is completely unsustainable. And it's especially unsustainable for folks who need to show up to do their jobs, who rely on, childcare that might not be open right now, that may be, public schools, and they don't have other options. And so, what I want to see, frankly, on both the state and the national or federal level is I want to see a lot more support for parents, because in the best of times, being a parent is tough. The cost of daycare is completely out of control. And this is not an attack on the daycare providers, because they're doing, most of them are doing the best that they can do. But it's just the costs are so completely out of control. Parents are struggling to afford daycare, to, afford the cost. Even in many of our towns here, kindergarten, if you want your kids to go to all day or to full day kindergarten, it costs money. So, one of the things that I advocate for is free full day kindergarten for everybody in Massachusetts. These are things that matter. You okay, bud?
Tasty.
Cool. Tasty, yeah. But these are things that really matter, and they make a huge difference. And so I think we need elected officials who truly understand what it's like to be a working parent, because we are dealing, again, in normal times, we're dealing with challenges that are really hard to overcome. And it's made so much worse by everything going on with COVID-19. So I love that. And there needs to be a rebalance of work versus home. Yeah, absolutely. I saw something interesting today. So today, TripAdvisor announced, very sadly, that they are laying off, I think it was 700 people. And they're closing down their Boston and San Francisco offices. Now, they still have a Needham office, so they're not leaving the area. But the CEO was quoted in the article as saying that they are, they're keeping on a bunch of people, and that they are, one of the reasons why they were okay closing down Boston and San Francisco offices is because they have learned over the last month and a half that so many of their people can work from home. And part of me was kind of like, duh, like a lot of us who do it anyway have known that for a long time. But I was glad to see that recognition. And I think hopefully we'll see a shift. I remember when I was in corporate, it was butt in seat. That was the rule. Like, that was how you got ahead. It didn't matter if you were the most productive person. It mattered how much, time you got in the office. And I think hopefully this will shift that model a bit. And then if that shifts, then hopefully we can maybe start to see people being more productive with less time, which will allow us to have a better rebalance. I don't know if you have thoughts on that, babe. Why are you laughing?
I just love the rhythm of his running.
You have thoughts on that?
What's that?
I said, do you have thoughts on that?
Yes, I think this is unsustainable, but I don't know that the solution is a return to normal. That may be the solution, but the issue that I've been worrying about the last week or so is this may not be a short-term thing. We've kind of crossed that threshold of the grin and bear it into the, all right, let's come to Jesus and see where we're. I can't believe I used that phrase. And see where we're gonna see how we're gonna handle this going forward. And I think it's interesting what happened with New Zealand, and I've been advocating from the beginning that what they need to do is, instead of these half measures, just say, everybody stay home. Here's $2,000. Everybody get $2,000. Go get all the groceries you need for 3 weeks, and just sit your ass down.
Yeah.
And that's basically what New Zealand did. And, look what happened. So instead, we're just going to have the death by 1,000 cuts. And that just may take a really long time. So it being unsustainable may mean that we're just going to have to adjust what our work looks like. Something will give. And it's not going to be that our kids are just going to be running around in the streets. So.
No, I think that's so true. And I've advocated from the beginning for, a much more, I'm okay, buddy. Mommy already brushed her teeth. for a much greater shutdown. And I don't disagree with you there. It's a great point. All right, we got a lot more questions coming in. I love all the questions. If you're just joining us live, hey everyone, we've got a ton of people watching live, which is awesome. I'm lucky that my children are older. Yes, you are lucky. But I do feel if they were back at elementary age, it would be a struggle. Work needs to adjust to the new environment and roll back on the expectations. That's so true. I love that. Okay, Tim loves your lawyer jokes. All right, Lauren's got a question here. How has this pandemic changed your state legislative priorities after you're elected? Oh, I love this question. Are there things that you see as more important now that perhaps were not on your radar as much before this began? Yeah, this is a great question, Lauren. So it's funny, when we first launched the campaign, one of the big things we were talking about was fixing our broken transportation system. Doesn't feel like a priority right now. Now, all jokes aside, it absolutely still is a priority, but this absolutely has made us rethink, not so much the things that we're talking about, because I think the themes that we were talking about before are still things that I am very passionate about now and that we're talking about now, but we're talking about them in a different light. So before COVID-19, making sure that every single, Massachusetts resident has access to a quality job that actually pays them a livable wage is super important to me. Making sure that every Massachusetts resident has access to quality and affordable and accessible healthcare, and not just physical healthcare, but mental healthcare, is incredibly important to me. Those things are still incredibly important to me, but now all the more so, because look at what's happened when something knocks us off of our system, right?
Mom, can you open it?
I sure will, buddy. I think that this shows us now more than ever why we cannot have health care that is tied to our employment. I think this shows us who is critical to keep our society afloat. The people in our grocery stores, our truck drivers, our mailmen, I was talking to, we have a local farm that we love to support, and they deliver our milk. And I was talking to him the other day, and he said he's working every single day, 14-hour days. And, these are the people that are getting us through this. And I, let alone our healthcare workers and everyone, it's not just the nurses and the doctors and the incredible medical professionals, but it's also the people who are, cleaning the hospitals. I mean, there are so many people out there right now fighting so that we get through this safely. And most of those people, or a lot of those people, I should say, are not making $15 an hour. And that's disgusting to me. So it's not that it's changed our priorities, but it's put a new light on the things that are really important and that I do not think we can waste any more time not dealing with. This pandemic has given me the opportunity to talk to a lot of people who are hourly workers, who are working multiple jobs, who are now on unemployment. And I'm seeing firsthand how difficult it is when any one thing, minimizes or takes that paycheck away from them. When any one thing sort of becomes a roadblock. And it's just inconceivable that this is not being addressed at the state level. So that to me is priority number one, is restoring our economy, but not restoring it to what it was, but restoring it to an economy that actually supports all of its workers. And make sure that people have livable wages, and make sure that people have affordable access to healthcare that they need that is not tied to their jobs. And so those to me are my priorities. They always have been, but they're even more important now. So I love that. Great question. Things that were not on your radar before. I'll say this, I've certainly learned more about some of these systems. I've learned more about unemployment. I've learned more about, some of the challenges. I mean, I'm a small business owner, but my business is very different from someone who owns a retail store. So I've learned more about some of those challenges. One of the things that I think is really important to understand about what's going on nationally, if you look at Georgia or Texas, where they're reopening their businesses, don't be fooled that this is just an effort to bring the economy back. What's happening is, because these businesses are being forced to reopen, or let me rephrase, because there is no longer an order not allowing them to reopen, they're no longer, one, their employees can't necessarily claim unemployment anymore. And two, their pandemic insurance isn't necessarily going to cover them for that. So it's things like that that I didn't fully understand the nuances of before that I sure as hell do now. And that's a big problem for me. All right. We got a ton of questions here. I'm trying to get people who haven't asked a question yet, and then I'll come back to the ones who have. And Tim, let's go back to Tim's question, because poor Tim, I skipped it because it was such a good question, and I wasn't riled up enough for it yet. Okay. So Tim asked, how can the state support school districts and teachers in providing high quality remote learning to students? This is a great question. And Tim, I'm going to be fully candid here. I'm not an educator, so I don't feel like it's my right to start spouting about all the ways, all the things that teachers and school districts should be doing right now. There are people who are much smarter at this stuff than I am to do that. But what I love this question, why I love this question, is because it recognizes the need for the state to provide support. So one of the big concerns about remote learning is that not every student will have access. He just keeps disappearing. Not every student will have access or equal access to the remote learning opportunities. And that's number one. The state needs to step in and make sure that every single school district has the funding they need to ensure that every kid has the resources they need and the tools that they need to have that kind of access. There are communities where kids may not have sufficient internet access or Wi-Fi or whatever. Steve makes fun of me because I don't really understand the internet, but whatever, internet. Where they may not have the laptops or the computers that they need. They may not have the books or the tools that they need at home. Our state needs to step in and make sure they have those. I also think our teachers need to be supported through all of this. So, people who are not teachers may think, well, why is this any different? They don't have to show up now. They don't have to get dressed and drive into school. So this should actually be easier for them. But as many of us have noticed in trying to engage with people online, it is a different world, and it sucks a lot out of you, and it's harder to interact, and it's harder to stay focused. And our teachers are battling that with our kids. They're trying to deliver content that gets through to our kids, that keeps them engaged and educated and nourished, and while sort of dealing with the fact that our kids have never had to engage or learn like this before. So I also think the state needs to step in and make sure that our teachers are getting the resources they need during this time, and not just now, but afterwards. And I saw another comment about, or question about teachers. I want to answer that one next because it ties in. So it's a great question. I think the state absolutely needs to step in and support both our students and our teachers and our school districts. All right, let me scroll down to that other question about teachers. And anyone else, if you've got questions, drop them in. I frankly am going to keep us on here as long as possible because I don't want to go see the mess that Jack has just made in our bathroom. So the longer it's fine. The longer we all stay here, the longer I don't have to deal with that. I would love legislation regarding putting parameters on work, being able to contact outside of work hours, and mandatory disconnect parameters. Ooh, I love that. As someone who used to work in public accounting and would get emails at 2 o'clock in the morning that I was expected to respond to. Yeah, I get that. Ashley says, agree, tuition-free full day kindergarten is so important. Yep. Corey says, Slack has mute hours. Use them. Corey, I love that. Yeah, normal day hours are hard because of the kids, so after hours work is easier and more likely. I get that. Email login times, contacting on personal mobile. Yep. Oh, here we go. How can we support? No, wait, that wasn't the question. We had a question about, oh, here we go. As a state legislator, how will you make sure that teachers get fair pay? So there's a few things we can do. And I love this question because my mom is actually, or was, she's retired. My mom was an elementary school teacher. So I have the utmost respect for teachers. It's a job, frankly, that I knew before this I should never be doing. And I sure as hell realize it now. So I think the first thing is ensuring that, when I'm in the state Senate, have all of the necessary stakeholders at the table. And this is a theme that you've probably heard me say before. It's a theme that I believe in across all issues, which is, as an elected official, when I'm being asked to vote on something or to decide on a priority or to draft legislation, I want to make sure that all of the stakeholders are at the table for those conversations so that that legislation is not only going to pass, but is also going to be effective. Because at the end of the day, to me, that is the true test of whether or not I'm a good elected official. It isn't if I get a bunch of bills passed. It isn't if I, bring some money back to the district. It's how effective is that bill that I pass? How effective are those funds that I bring back to the district?
Hi, what can I do for you?
And so it's making sure we have teachers at the table. It's making sure we have the teachers unions at the table. It's making sure that we are advocating for teachers and actually fighting for them. Lauren asked about my priorities, and I talked kind of a more general. Please let my love. I talked about more of like a general economy thing, but teachers are absolutely on that list of people who are incredibly underpaid. And I think we all know that because we've all now had to experience what that job really entails. So that's number one. I think the second, I think the second thing is making sure that teachers across the board can unionize. We're seeing this now in a lot of schools, a lot of our charter schools, where teachers are not able to be part of unions. And actually, this is frankly something that I believe in across the board, whether or not you're a teacher, is that workers should be able to unionize. I've talked to too many people who tell me that they've tried to do this at their place of employment and it's been shut down for one reason or another. Unions are the backbone of our workforce. They have fought time and time again for workers' rights. And I think it is so incredibly important that their role continue to be supported as they continue to fight for the things that people like our teachers, like our nurses, like our grocery store workers need. So those are just some of the ways that I will make sure that they get fair pay. All right, we got new comments. Oh wait, I covered those. Okay, cool. I think that's it for questions. Anybody else have questions? Are we good? Did I get them all? That was a lot. Maybe we should talk a little bit about, before we wrap up, about how, oh buddy, this is
gonna be so fun.
He's covered in toothpaste.
Ah! This is accurate.
Kevin, please.
What is that?
So he's gotten into the travel bin of toothpaste. It's fine. All right, I think we should wrap this up by talking a little bit about how we as parents can all support each other. So I've talked for a lot because I got a lot of questions about policies. So I'm going to kick this one to you while I deal with the toothpaste. I need 3 minutes, please. Okay?
Don't worry.
Don't worry. Thank you, buddy.
This is all right.
Do you want to come sit on mommy's lap for a few minutes?
No, you have it all over you.
I do not want it all over me. No, thank you.
Do you want all over your eyes?
I don't.
Okay, how about this? No.
All right, babe, why don't you take it? What is your advice for supporting each other during this time?
I had a friend drop me off some beer for my birthday. That was really supportive.
That was very, very nice. Socially distanced beer. I don't know how to make that comment go away. Socially distanced beer is a good thing. What else? What else you got?
I don't know. I mean, I saw the Goonies Reunion this morning. I know you're too young. You're too young. But what Josh Brolin, I think it's Josh Brolin, said, which was so cool, is that it was an excellent opportunity, this COVID thing, to get together with folks that you wouldn't normally get together. We had a reunion for some summer associates that I was with back my first summer as a lawyer. And we definitely wouldn't have done that without this thing. So, those kind of random reunions are nice. Your nights are free. You're saving time in commuting. So I get that. You're losing a lot of hours to the extra parenting, but there's some. It's nice to see folks you haven't interacted with in a long time. So that's fun.
I like that.
I'm doing more FaceTiming, but yeah, I thought, and it was cool because he was, the asshole big brother in the movie, so it was nice to coming 180 degrees.
This is not a family show, people. Not a family show.
What are you talking about?
Between you and I, we've probably sworn 15 times.
Oh, I didn't know I wasn't allowed to curse.
We should have had a warning. It's okay. I think that's a great point. I think, I think it's just checking in. And there was another meme that was something along the lines of like, your friends with kids are not okay. And it listed like all the things that they're dealing with. And to be very clear, for anyone who's watching who's not a parent, like everybody's going through their own thing right now. So this is not to say that parents have it worse by any means. I have friends who don't have kids and isolation is really tough for them. The loneliness is really tough. So it's, I have friends who are struggling to find focus right now and things to do. I have friends who are stressed about their health, and I have friends who have lost loved ones. So I think we're all, oh my God. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Also, you can now see that my husband is not wearing real pants.
Oh, yeah. Well, they cover my legs.
At least you're not like the guy on the news who, did you see that? He showed up and he wasn't wearing pants and he didn't realize it, but you could totally see it.
Like, but shorts still. I mean, I
get
that.
He had like briefs on.
The mouse was in the house. That's really all that matters.
You can't say that.
I can't say mouse or house? What kind of a show is this?
Well, I hope this has been entertaining for everyone. I don't see any more questions. If you've got questions, drop them now. We are going to pop off in just a few minutes here. I did go ahead and throw up on the screen. If after seeing this, you are still willing to support me, head on over to megwheeler.com/pledge and sign my pledge, just showing your support for my candidacy and our campaign and the work that we are doing. We would all be incredibly grateful for that. Today is actually the last, I believe today is the last day to get signatures in for the ballot. I'm more than happy to report that we have, that wasn't supposed to happen. That we have qualified for the ballot. I'm very excited about that. So thank you so much for everyone who signed our nomination papers, both in person and virtually. You are all incredible.
I have to put that on. There you go.
So I will be on the ballot September 1st as I believe the only Democratic candidate, but nonetheless still very much need your vote. And we'll be on the ballot again in November for state senate. So I would be just very honored to have your vote then as well. Again, if you've got any questions,
all right, go back to see mommy.
Comments. As always, you can also ask questions on my website, megwheeler.com/question. We're going to get rid of Steve. We're going to remove him. megwheeler.com/question. If you ever have a question, I'm more than happy to answer questions. We are rolling out more information on our website every single day. We've got a COVID resource page, megwheeler.com/COVID. But we've also got information on what my priorities are and my positions on things there as well. And we do have some resources for parents and families on there to get through this time. So thank you everyone so much for joining us live here. I hope this was entertaining at least, or fun, or I don't know, stress relief or something. We really appreciate you letting us come into your home, especially with everything that's going on right now. We got a true surprise guest with Jack. We did not expect him to be a part of this. We'll be back here on, I'm going to forget the date. We'll be back here on Thursday, May 7th with our next virtual town hall. This one's all about restoring our economy. And we will absolutely be taking listener questions for that one as well. So if you would like to get the link to the town hall, but also to submit a question, head on over to megwheeler.com/events. And go ahead and sign up for that event. We'll get you the link to be able to ask a question. And we may even invite some folks on to the actual town hall if you're up for that, so that you can get your question answered. So until then, I just hope everyone stays safe and healthy. I hope that your family is staying safe and healthy. And for all of you parents out there, we really do see you. We know what you're going through. We are sending you lots of virtual support and hugs and wine. And hopefully we will all get a chance to meet up when all of this is over. Have a good night.